co-founder and CTO, Parker Harris.
Thank you, Jillian. All right, welcome everyone. Hope you had fun. I'm sure that you're maybe a little tired. Did you guys enjoy last night? How many of you went to the concert last night? Yeah. I thought Stevie Wonder rocked it. I mean, that guy, he's 67 years old, and that was pretty incredible. If you missed it, I'm sorry, but I was there, and I thought it was incredible. Well, today, yesterday was a great day. We had some great announcements. Today, we're going to talk about app dev, and we're going to get a little geeky. We're going to get into the tech. We're going to get into the code. We're going to get into the clicks, and it's going to be a lot of fun. So thank you for being here. And thank you also for helping us create this platform. It's all of you Trailblazers that have given us feedback, that have said, hey, Parker, your developers need to go build this new feature because I need to make it easier with clicks. Or you wanted to crack it open with some code, right? And you needed to have more abilities of DX, which we will talk about later, but that's amazing. You gave us all this feedback, and you also went out and touched our customers, and you helped us be successful with all of those customers. And so thank you, all of you, for all that you've done. Thank you. Yeah. It really takes a village. Well, we just had our 19th birthday at Salesforce. 19 years old, so we're kind of a late teenager. I've got twin 18-year-olds myself, so I know exactly what it's like dealing with a teenager. Well, 19 years ago, we started out with this vision. The vision was very, very simple. The vision was no software. And I had all these people come up to me like, Parker, I know that there's software because you're building software. So how can you say no software? And I said, well, that's not the point. The point is we don't want you to have to deal with the software. You guys know that. And that it should be really, really easy to use. We didn't even want consultants when we started the company. We wanted to make it so easy that you could just come in and just build really, really quickly, configure it super fast, and get going. Kind of what I said yesterday, fast and simple. That was our vision. Clicks, not code. Now, later on, of course, we needed lots of help. That's why all of you are here. We needed more people to help make our customers successful. But the whole point was we wanted to make it brain dead simple, and that's always been our goal. Well, it's been a long, long road. Back then, it was a simple idea. We looked at Amazon.com, the bookstore at the time, if you remember that. And we said, hey, why can't we make enterprise software? In that day, it was just Salesforce automation. Why can't it be as easy to run your Salesforce as just going on Amazon and buying a book? It should be that simple. Don't buy any software. And that was the multi-tenant cloud. That was our original idea. Well, we've come a long ways, and many of you have been there on the journey with us. We came out with the App Exchange. That was incredible, a whole ecosystem of partners. Force.com, of course, you know and love. That was we changed our name a lot, so I apologize for the name of our platform. But at one point, it was called Force.com, and Force.com was about declarative development. And then we added social and mobile. We bought Heroku, incredible asset to bring in the programmatic. We brought in analytics and, of course, Lightning. And more recently, with the announcement just recently, yesterday, the new integration cloud. Because we realize that data is everywhere. Many of you have probably, how many of you deal with multiple orgs and go, this is so frustrating? Anyone have frustrations with that? Well, that's an example that we're trying to help you solve with clicks, not code, to bring those together. How many of you have data behind the firewall that you want to bring into your analytics, to bring into your Einstein? That's the whole vision of the integration cloud. But to do it simply, that original vision that we had as a company, clicks, not code, make it super fast and super easy. Well, it is super fast, it's super easy, but you need to learn. You all know that. And so we have, of course, Trailhead. And Trailhead is teaching you all the aspects of the platform to give you the skills so that you can skill up and go help our customers, that you can get the badges, that you can become the Rangers. Do we have any Rangers in the room? Any Rangers? Yeah. Let's give it up for the Rangers. I've got a lot of work to do. You guys are going to see my profile. I have not had as many badges as I probably should have, being the co-founder of the company. So, and Sarah always reminds me of that. Get your badges and get on with it, Parker. Well, I'm going to do that, but to you Rangers, kudos to you, because I know that's a lot of time that you've put in to learning our platform. A lot of time. But look what you've done with all those skills. Look what you've done. Trailblazers, like you see on this slide here, and many of you in the room, building these incredible apps, transforming our customers, transforming industries. You're upskilling your skills. You're learning how to be more successful. You're making money. That's nothing wrong with making money. You're creating a job for yourself. You're creating a whole economy. And just as Zach said yesterday, which I thought was great, he said the trail. Trail is not just for me. I'm blazing a trail for others to follow. I thought that was an amazing quote, and we're probably going to use it in our marketing from now on. I thought that was just such an amazing story. And I want to tell another story right now of a special trailblazer. Special trailblazer, Bhavana Singh. Okay, Bhavana, her story starts in Maryland. She's from Maryland. And she was working, I just talked to her more about it backstage earlier this morning. She was at a financial services company in Maryland. 13 years at this company. They were using a CRM system called Salesforce.com, but they also were using another one from some other company that we won't talk about. And she was learning Salesforce. She was like, this is incredible. She knew the right path to take. She was like, wow, this is incredible. She's learning all her skills, but she become a manager. She moved up the ranks. But she got turned on to the platform. She got turned on to Trailhead. She was upskilling. She was learning. And she left recently, a year ago. I think she calls it her Independence Day. We're going to talk about that in a second. She left to go out on her own to build a business in our ecosystem, to build a consultancy. That's a pretty scary thing. But she has done incredible things since then. So I want to bring Bhavana up here, and I want to tell her story with her up here. Bhavana, come on up. Give her a big hand. Bhavana, welcome. Okay, so let's talk about your story. So you left your job. That's scary, right? And you're learning the platform, okay? How did you find your first customers? Like that would be the first thing that I would be asking. Is how did you find your first customers?
So I went online on this platform called Upwork.com, and then I just listed what I can do, and they found me.
Wow.
Actually,
they found you.
Yeah.
Because there's a huge demand.
There is
for this skill set. Yeah.
Where I'm to a point where I have to turn off my availability because.
Really?
Yes.
That's good. Okay. The second question I asked Bhavana this morning, I'll ask it again. How do you know what to charge? How do you know what you're worth in the market?
I didn't. I just guessed a number and went with it.
Okay, and I think this is a real problem. I think this is something we have to fix in the industry because, especially as women in technology, we want to make sure that you're paid equally or paid more than men. That'd be fine too.
Yeah, I would be fine with that.
Right? But you guys need to share, and maybe we'll talk to the Trailhead team. Maybe we need to share what's the economy. We talk about jobs, and that's really important. What kind of salaries can you make? But maybe you're not going to be a full-time employee. Maybe you're going to be like Bhavana, and you're going to be a consultant. Let's get top dollar. Let's make some money here, right? Yeah. Okay. Speaking of women, you were passionate about women in technology. I am as well. There was a women in technology group in Maryland. You said, let's get together.
Right.
Tell me the story about what happened.
So I had come to Dreamforce 3 years ago, and then the dinner the night before, I went to the Women in Tech dinner, and I was so pumped up. So I went back to Maryland and found the group, and I'm writing on their Trailblazer community, let's meet, when are we meeting? And there was no response. Somebody had started the group, but they didn't have the time to take it anywhere. So I was really frustrated, and my Ohana friend, Jocelyn Fenerel, she's a Chicago WIT leader, and she said, why don't you start your own? And I was like, oh, I didn't even think that could be a thing.
Yeah.
So I started my own group. And my first meeting was me and this one other person. And that was our first meeting.
Yeah.
But group has grown. Like now we have close to 100 members.
And that was a year ago, right?
That was 2 years ago.
Two years ago,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
had 2 people. And in 2 years, you've grown it to over
Yeah,
100.
yeah.
Wow, that's amazing. Let's give her a hand for that.
Yeah.
Okay. Final question, and I think many of you feel this as you enter the ecosystem, as you take these risks, but then you get the courage and you become successful, you want to pay it back in some way. And so tell me the story that you told me about the professor that you had many years ago.
Yeah, so when I was doing my bachelor's, Professor Williamson, when I finished my last course with him, he shook my hand and he said, promise me that you'll teach one day, you'll make a good teacher. So I did promise him, but I never did anything with him until like last year I found out about the RAD program. And I was like, oh, that's an opportunity to teach and fulfill that promise. So, but I didn't know if I had it in me I don't know what it takes to teach.
Yeah.
So I called Angela Mahoney, she's the founder of the RAD program, and she just took me right in. And she paired me with this amazing co-coach, Bonnie Hinners, and she guided me, and I had my first session, and now I'm having a second session through it, and it's incredible.
Wow.
I thought, I'm doing this to give, my time and my energy, but I have gained so much from that because, first of all, I have like a deeper understanding because of all the prep I do
Right.
for the classes.
Yeah.
They say like if you want to learn something, teach it.
Yes.
Very true.
Yes.
And then I've made amazing friends, like coaches and the learners, great friends. And then the joy of teaching.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Great.
Well, there's a lot of other Trailblazers here. Any words of advice for them?
Just go do it. It's very hard. What I do is very hard. What
Yeah.
I've done in the past year, there have been like moments of doubt.
Yeah.
But it's worth it.
And maybe
because
find an Ohana friend. I like that
Oh,
term.
yes, definitely.
Yeah.
There's such
Yeah.
an amazing support system now.
Okay, well, this is an incredible story. It's such an incredible story and amazing success. We have our newest Golden Hoodie Award winner, Bhavna. Yep. And I always like to do this when we're on stage. I get my selfie with you. The on-stage selfie doesn't happen that often. All right, let's do the on-stage selfie. Cheers. All right. Congrats, Bhavna.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. All right. Okay, so what did Bhavna do? Well, she learned the platform, right? The customer success platform. So what is this platform? Well, it's many things. So when we talk about the customer success platform, it's everything. It's all of the solutions that we have, because in many ways, I like to tell people we are a solutions-first company backed by an incredibly powerful platform. So, of course, we have marketing solutions and commerce, service, communities, sales, collaboration, and industries. But when you go to your customer, out of the box, it may not be quite right. It may be something that you need to change, something you need to customize or personalize, or you need to connect to the business processes of that company. So how are you going to do that? Well, first you're going to learn with Trailhead. And then you're going to make it smarter with Einstein. You're going to make these beautiful UIs with Lightning. You're going to very soon start using the new integration cloud to integrate those multiple orgs, to bring in those data sources from the back office and from other clouds. You're going to connect the devices with IoT. You're going to use Heroku, which you're going to see later. The power, when you need to add some code, add some code. Put it on Heroku. You're going to analyze with analytics, and of course, maybe you don't have to build it at all. Maybe you can go grab something from the App Exchange. Maybe it's already there. That is why we have the #1 B2C and B2B platform. And the important thing about this, to me, is about very quickly building apps that people love. That's the whole point. Doesn't matter how you build them. The point is, are they getting used, and do they love them? Is there a high adoption rate? And are you changing that customer's experience? And you're going to do that quickly with clicks. Like that's what I always say. If you can do it with clicks, do it with clicks. Don't write code. That's what I tell my developers. If you can get rid of code, if you can not write code, awesome. That's what you should do. Make it super fast. But you might also need to write a little bit of code as well. And so Trailblazers like Jesse and Jessica, I think Jessica's right there, right? Hey, Jessica. All right. So Jessica's not a clicks-only person or a code-only person. She knows when to use one versus the other. She mixes them. The whole point, she goes quickly to build these apps that people love. And that's what we want to talk about today and show you 3 stories, 3 Trailblazer stories about doing this, about building apps faster, about making them smart, and about building apps together. And we're going to walk through some incredible demonstrations. And you're going to go, whoa, 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 whoa. I can't keep up. What was that? What was this? Well, don't worry. Everything that you see today is in an app that is online. It's on GitHub. You have all the code. You'll have a trail mix I'll talk about later. You can learn all about it. So pay attention, but don't worry if you miss something because we have it all for you. We have the code. We have the education. You're going to learn everything that you see in the Dreamhouse sample app. So let's start the first story. The story is about Alba and how she leveraged the power of the Salesforce platform to build apps faster. And who better to tell that story than Margaret Francis, Senior Vice President and recently promoted to General Manager of Heroku. Talk about women in technology. Great story, Margaret. Take it away.
Thank you, Parker. It is a great pleasure to be here with all of you today and to demo some of the things that we actually work on in the office the other 363 days of the year. And as I get started, I just wanted to note that some of you I have known for years, some of you I just met yesterday on the show floor, and some of you, all of you, have really expressed a sentiment that is not unlike that Alba shared with me, which is that customer expectations have really never been higher. So to build apps that people love, you all need the best tools and the best platform that we can give you. It's all variations on the same theme. Frankly, it is hard to build great apps and to do great things in a world that is increasingly technically complex. Things are not getting easier. And that is why we have the Lightning Platform. That's why we built it. That's why we continue to invest in it. There are a lot of different approaches that you can take to build an app quickly on the Lightning Platform. You can do it with no code. You can do it just with clicks. You can do it with pro-code tools that you love, like my beloved Heroku. And you can do it with enterprise services that we make instantly available out of the box, whether they're Salesforce services like Heroku Postgres or third-party things that might come in from AppExchange or Heroku Elements. So I want to spend just a little bit of time reviewing what's in the box, and then we're going to talk you through the Dreamhouse sample app. Building an app with clicks and not code is amazing. You can spin something up with a few clicks, you can connect all your data to it, you can secure it, you can deploy it to all of your users instantly. It's amazing when you can avoid writing code you don't have to write. Or you can build apps fast with pro-code tools. So that could be Apex. That could be working with the APIs or platform events directly. That could also be writing an app in an open source language, deploying it on Heroku. And about those enterprise services, there are all kinds of things that we get by virtue of our ecosystem, the partners on AppExchange, the partners on Heroku Elements. Hey, sales and CRM are wonderful ways to extend an app. So as Parker mentioned with our Dreamhouse app, in case you didn't see it on the show floor, it's an application that is about helping a property owner list an apartment or a house for rent, an end customer who actually needs to find a new place to live, and the broker in between who needs to help them execute the transaction. We are going to show you how to compose an app out of all of the services that constitute the Lightning Platform today using this reference architecture. And that's how you should think about it. You can take the trail mix, you can get all the links, get all the code. So, helping me with this demo today are the wonderful Kara Calloway and Matt Kwok back there riding shotgun in the Jeep.
Hi, everyone.
Say hello.
We're ready to build some fast apps.
Yeah. So when you pull that package down from GitHub and you install it into your Salesforce org, you are going to get kind of a fast start into an environment that looks very much like this. It'll have all of the custom objects, things like brokers and properties, that wouldn't ship in a standard Salesforce org, but which we want to show you in our demo today. So I think we're going to start by building an app experience for our brokers. So Kara's going to take us over to the App Manager and create an app for us, something good for brokers. Rental Central sounds good. We'll give it a little styling, and we'll start moving into the app creation process. Now, the reason to even do this is because when we choose to make an app for our brokers, we can really constrain the objects that they have to work with and make them very, very efficient with their workflow. We could choose standard navigation if we want to do it simply, or we can choose console. We're going to choose console because it gives us a lot of nice choices to customize the navigation for our brokers. They don't need everything. They need what brokers need. It also gives us the ability to add a utility bar. This is a persistent navigation item. It's at the bottom of the page, and we can use it for all of the most easily accessed tasks and items. It's a really nice productivity shortcut. And we can use standard components, custom components. That's code we write ourselves, as opposed to things that ship out of the box, or even managed components that we pull in from AppExchange in that utility bar. So Kara, why don't we add a couple of the standard ones? You may notice, everything ships with a really sensible default on the Lightning platform. It's one of the ways we help you build apps fast. It just comes, it works, you can save it. Or you can get fancy. You can decide to customize it with a little bit of your own choices around styling or information density. So we're going to bring over all the rest of the things that our brokers need to be effective in Rental Central, and then we're going to put a bow on it with a thing called the navigation rule. This was a little bit new for me. It's one of the cooler things that we have in the Lightning platform to show you. Kara, will you tell us all about the navigation rule?
I'd be happy to. And actually, before I do that, there's a surprise component that I want to add that I'm going to show everyone in just a few minutes. This is something we built with code.
I believe that's code Kara wrote, the assistant.
It is, and I'll show you under the hood in just a minute. So first, I'm going to add all of the objects that we want to include in this app. See?
What's so great about this is that all of these standard objects, all these custom objects are going to come in that GitHub code sample. So pretty much you can play along at home.
OK, so now we're in navigation rules. This is another tool that helps you optimize your page layout. So because the properties and the broker's objects are a master detail relationship, we can specify that every time we open up a property in our workspace, it'll automatically load the related broker record as well.
I love it. If I open up a property, I'm actually going to be able to find the broker and have all of their information preloaded for me. Now, this is Salesforce, so we always have to make a decision about who actually gets to use this app. Usually it's the system administrators and whoever we're building it for, in this case, the brokers. And when we go ahead and we save it, that took about 2 minutes, we actually now have our new application ready. It's called Rental Central. Kara, would you help us take it for a drive?
Sure.
So one of the things you should probably see right away is this navigation just does not look like standard Salesforce Home. It's only got those items in it that we just chose for our brokers. And everything is going to open up in a neat little workspace with all of the tabs contained so you can organize your page. It's got down at the bottom our navigation bar, our persistent navigation bar, the utility bar. And in it, we have all kinds of widgets that we put in. Ooh, and I notice here, if we go ahead and click on a property, can we do that, Kara? Sure. It's going to automatically open that broker record right alongside it, Caroline Kingsley. So now, if I know I want to show someone this property, I've got the broker information right there. Very, very nice. Now, Kara, isn't this a Lightning dynamic page? Don't we have a lot of options for improving this particular property record if we want to?
We sure do. So what the brokers are telling me is, first and foremost, they want to see the location. So I'm going to rearrange the page and consolidate some of these components so that they're easy to access using a standard feature, tabs, which we can customize.
So what I have heard from many of you who have been working with the Lightning platform is that you actually want to minimize the clicks that your users need. You want to improve the information density on the page, and you want control over how this thing looks for your users. And that's exactly what Kara is showing us right now. I always want to see the map front and center. You know, the other thing I really like to see front and center for a property is that 360-degree virtual tour. That's like the coolest thing that you can see about a property.
Yeah, all the brokers are really excited about this component. The only trick is, or the only catch I should say, is that not all of our properties have the 360 panoramic video. So I'm going to add a little bit of logic to the component while leveraging Lightning Dynamic Pages to specify that we only want it to take up real estate on the page if we have that pano available.
Thank you for doing that. If it was just dead space and we had no 360-degree viewer, that would be kind of a bummer. All right, if we go ahead and save that and we actually look at the page, we can see all of Kara's amazing work to customize that property record and make it look much more compelling for that broker than it did just out of the box. So these are examples of the ways that you all can build a Lightning app fast on the platform and really customize it for your particular audience. Now, in the Dreamhouse sample app, we have property owners, we have brokers, but we also have people who need to find a place to live, presumably in Chicago. And the experience that they have of shopping for a property in this particular reference architecture is a Node.js app that is running on Heroku. Kara, can we take a look at that? So here I am. I'm a renter now, and I'm switching context over to look for a new place to live. And when I do that, I want to go look at all the different properties. You know, I might want to look at a map view to see if there's a particular neighborhood I want to live in. And if I find a property I particularly like, I might want to call that broker or favorite it, come back to it later. Now, how did we do that? How did we actually create this progressive web app? We did it on Heroku. So let's go take a look at our Heroku dashboard. Here, what you're going to see, our Dreamhouse app, you're going to see some simple application metrics that come out of the box for everything. You're going to see all of the add-ons we use to power our app, things like data stores that come from Salesforce, Heroku Postgres, or Apache Kafka on Heroku, and things that even come through our Elements Marketplace from New Relic or Papertrail. You're also going to see Heroku Connect. This is a pretty critical thing, because Heroku Connect is a bidirectional data synchronization service that takes all of the property records that we have in our Salesforce org, puts them into the Heroku Postgres database, where any developer can work with them using simple SQL statements. So here's the dashboard for Heroku Connect, and you can see there's been a lot of data movement between our Salesforce org and our Postgres database. Whether you're working with a few dozen records, and this is in the case of Dreamhouse, or a couple 100 million, it looks pretty much the same. And if we actually click into one of the property mappings, one of the mappings we have here, we can see which fields we brought over from Salesforce. Maybe we didn't need all of them, but we definitely needed all of the bedrooms, maybe the rent, maybe the address, in order to be able to create our engaging customer experience on Heroku. Now, what happens when Friday hits and everyone flies home to Chicago and starts shopping for a new place to live? Let's take a look at our application metrics here. Here's where I can see errors, I can see application performance, and I can really get insight into how my app is performing in the cloud. What happens when load on that application grows over time? Well, we have this amazing feature on Heroku called auto-scaling. And what you can do is click to enable it. And when you do that, we get to decide how quickly that page returns. So, Kara, how fast do you think that we should serve these requests?
I think we should make it lightning fast. I'm going 300 milliseconds.
We're just spending Parker's money now. If you go ahead and save that, then every request to that application, 95% of them anyway, is going to return within 300 millis, which is a way that we make it a lot easier for you to manage apps on Heroku. Now, I know it's always personal to show a code editor, and it's always dangerous to do in a live demo, but I'm hoping that Kara will do us one more favor and show us a little bit about how you work with Salesforce data using simple SQL statements inside that Dreamhouse code sample.
I'll do it this one time.
All right.
So here we are in the code, under the covers. So all I did was I wrote a simple SQL statement to query all available properties. And you can see right down here, it's returning all of the associated brokers for us.
Thank you so much, Kara. And that is how we help all of you to build apps fast on the Lightning platform. Doesn't matter which approach you choose. It's about picking the right tool for the job, writing only the code that you need to write, and then running it in an environment that instantly scales. So I hope that some of the patterns and capabilities that we've shown all of you will be really useful when you get home and repurpose them for your own reasons. Thank you so much, Kara and Matt, for that demo. And thank you, Parker. Where are you?
All right.
There you are.
Great job, Margaret. OK, so we're building the app together. That was really cool. Using App Builder with clicks, using Heroku with some code. But let's now make it smarter. Let's add some Einstein to this picture. And let's bring up Leanne Reimel. Leanne, how are we going to make this app smarter?
We're going to make it really smart, Parker.
All right, take it away.
Happy day 2 of TDX, everyone. So I love that demo. I love the demo that we just saw, because I'm an app builder. Who here likes to build apps? Who here is an app builder, right? We're all trailblazers, we're builders. And when we're building these apps, we want to make them smarter, because our customers need them to be smarter as well. And I'm really honored to have Ashley here, actually, in the front row, one of our amazing trailblazers, Ashley from College Forward. And Ashley in College Forward, woo! In College Forward, I had the opportunity to talk to Ashley last week, and College Forward's an amazing nonprofit that is using the Lightning platform to help kids get to college. That's their goal, that's their mission. And with the power of Einstein, they're delivering the right tools to their coaches at the right time. And that's how College Forward can focus on what really matters, which is their students. So I was so inspired. Thank you, Ashley, for sharing your story with us, because it was really inspiring to hear how you're using the platform. And we say smarter apps, we talk about smarter apps, and what does that mean? I feel like we all know what that means as consumers. We expect apps to be smart, but what does it mean for what our customers want? A smarter app is an app that's taking in tons of data, that's looking at all of this data you have access to. And it's telling you, it's giving you intelligence about what has happened. It's helping you look intelligently at what's happened. But it's also helping you make smart decisions about what's happening right now. How do you make the right decision right now? And it's taking it even further and helping give you predictions about what's going to happen in the future. We make it easier to build these smarter apps. We need tools to build these smarter apps, and we do that with Einstein Platform Services. There's a ton of tools on the Einstein Platform. We've got language, image, data, all of these tools that help us develop and build smarter apps quickly. We have language tools that allow us to build language sentiment analysis into our apps. We can build image detection, even object detection within images. And I'm very excited about the Prediction Builder, because Prediction Builder gives you the tools to build custom prediction models right within your apps with clicks and not code. That's a huge deal for all of us as builders. So we're building these smarter apps, but these smarter apps don't exist in silos. We need our smart apps to be talking to other systems, to be connecting with data from other systems, to be publishing, to subscribe. And we do that with platform events. We can use platform events and build our apps on an event-driven architecture by publishing and subscribing with code or with clicks, with tools like Process Builder. We can even scale our enterprise apps to millions of messages per day. So there's a lot of advancements here with platform events and how we can help our customers and our partners react in real time. And we don't just want to have all of this data that we're looking at, and we have to go and find that data, and we have to go and look at that intelligence. We want that intelligence to speak to us, right? We want that flow, that intelligence of smarter apps to speak to us. And we do that with Lightning Flow. We build intelligence into our apps, and we help our users action that intelligence with Lightning Flow. We surface those flows with components, with actions, with the brand new action list component that we're going to show you in just a minute here. And we can make those flows have the look and feel and functionality that we want by customizing them with Lightning components. So we saw our sample app that we're all going to get hands-on with and go build with later today, but we're going to build some more on that sample app right now, and we're going to make it smarter. We're going to make our Dreamhouse app smarter with custom predictions, with flows, and with platform events. So Kara, let's take a look at our Dreamhouse sample app. Let's look at how we can make it smarter. So we've got our property page. We have a ton of data here, beautiful page. We've got our 360 view, but it's not telling us what to do next. It's not intelligent about telling us what to do next. So Kara, let's take a look at the Einstein prediction builder, because I'm going to use clicks to build a custom prediction model for my app. We're going to build our new prediction for properties, predicted days vacant, because it's important that we can understand how many days vacant will a listing be so we can make the right decisions. We're going to select for the property object. So this is, as we're building our prediction model, this is where all the data lives that we're going to use to build that prediction model. Now we're going to select the field to predict. So we've been tracking total days vacant, but that's looking backwards, right? When we're looking at total days vacant, that's after it's already rented. How many days was it vacant? We want to look forwards. So we predict for total days vacant. We get a preview of our prediction. And then we're going to select the field in which we're going to put this whole predictive model, where we're going to put all that data. This is a very important field because we're going to be working with this a lot in the next couple minutes. So let's continue on, Kara. Now, we can fine-tune our prediction, because this is a declarative model for building your own custom predictions, but we want to fine-tune it based on what our business needs. So we can select the fields that we want to include in this prediction model that we're building. We can fine-tune it further, and we can select the industry or the records that we want to use to build this prediction, because as you start working with custom prediction models, you're likely going to build them for different industries, different segments, different parts of your business. We can select which records make a good example of a prediction, right? So we're building our custom prediction model. We see a preview of it. We see our fields that we've selected. And when we click Build, Einstein's working on building that prediction model using all those fields we selected, all with clicks and not code. And this is like having a data scientist built right within your app. So what are we going to do with that predictive field? We've selected for predicted days vacant. We want to surface that information to all of our users, all of our brokers. So we're going to do that by editing the page layout here in App Builder. We're going to add our Einstein component to the page. Now, when we add the Einstein component to the page, it gives us a lot of information about this property, right? The predicted days vacant for this property, along with the positive and negative factors. But we want to help our brokers be smart about what's going on with other properties. So we're going to add another custom component called comparable properties. So this is a component that we built with Lightning-based components, with the Lightning-based component data table. Now, as you're building, as you're developing your custom components, working with base components allows you to inherit all of the Lightning design system markup, classes, and work quickly and reduce the need for utility code and build those components for your apps. So let's save our page and take a look. Now, we've got our predicted days vacant not only for this property, we've woven intelligence in for this property, but we also are looking at other similar properties. But I know, Kara, we showed the code a little bit earlier. Let's show it again. Let's look at how we added this predicted field to our data model. So just to go under the hood a little bit, I'll say because we're in the Jeep here, under the hood a little bit, we have our predicted days vacant that we're querying here. So when we created our custom prediction model and we chose the field to save it to, we made our entire data model smarter. So we're querying here for this field, and then we can surface it in our user components. We can surface it anywhere we want in our app. So let's take a look back at our Salesforce app, our Dreamhouse app. So we've got all the data about this specific property. We've got the data about the comparable properties. But we want to make this really actionable for our brokers. So let's go ahead and let's go back to the app builder. And we're going to add an action list. This is a brand new component. And this action list is sort of a smart to-do list for a record. And that smart to-do list, those to-do items are made up of flows. So once we save the page and go back, and we can select the behavior of these flows. So when we save the page and go back, we have this new action list on our page. But there's no actions there yet. So how do we add these actions? How do we add these flows? Well, we add them manually as users. So we can see we've got build an open house schedule, generate a lease agreement, things that we can add on our own. But we also, this is a smart app. We're not going to make our users add them on their own. We're going to add them automatically. We're going to add them automatically with Process Builder. So, Kara, let's jump to Process Builder. And let's look at our process that we're working on for rentals that might need extra attention. First, we're going to make this process smarter. And we're going to do that by adding that predictive field. I told you we'd be working with this field a lot. We're going to add that predictive field as a filter. If it's predicted to be vacant for more than 30 days, then we want to action that. And what do we want to do when it's predicted to be vacant for more than 30 days? Well, we want to add an item to that to-do list. We've got a beautiful flow that we've been working on to help our brokers optimize listings, and we're going to add that here with the create a record action type. Now, just to stop for a second, this is different than adding a flow with a process builder action type for those of you who work a lot with process builder, because what we're doing is we're creating a new record type, record action, which is assigning an item on that to-do list there. So we select which flow we want to assign. We select what the property ID should be. We want to inherit it from the property that's starting this process to begin with. We can select the priority. This is very important. We optimize the records. We're going to make this P0, what property ID we want, and also the status. Now, when we save this action, we also want to notify our brokers to go to this page. We want to drive them to the page so they complete the flow. And we want to let them know every time there's a change with their predicted records. So we've got our chatter post that we started, and let's go ahead and add some more text that's going to let them know, hey, the predicted fields vacant is, or the predicted days vacant is greater than 30, but also go to this record so you can optimize the listing. So once we save and activate this flow, it doesn't matter where our brokers are. Wherever they're working in the app, this great Rental Central app that we built, they could be working on dashboards or lists. When there's a property of theirs that's predicted to be vacant more than a certain number of days, they're going to get a chatter post that's going to prompt them, hey, take a look at this listing and optimize it. Now, when we click on the link to go to that listing, it's going to happen sort of fast. When we take a link to go to that listing, it opens up that property record, but it also opens up our new visual workflow in another sub-tab. So we're giving them access to the property record that they're clicking on, but we're also driving them and being intelligent about driving them to that flow. We did build this. This is our Lightning flow. We did build this with the Cloudflow Designer, but it looks and feels different, and it's got a familiar component here because we're reusing those components throughout our app to surface that information to our brokers. So we've got our data table component here. Let's go ahead and click Next. We're comparing our properties. This page also is powered by Lightning components. So we've got our Lightning slider that helps us select the right price. And when we save on this page, and you click the little checkbox button, and we save our new price for this listing, Lightning Data Service is going to automatically save that to that Salesforce record. Now, as we continue on, this is a really powerful page. It's a very beautiful and simple but powerful page because it's powered by base components. So we remove the need for a ton of utility code by using the file upload base component and the image carousel base component to make it easy for our users to upload these files and save them right to the property record. Now, as we continue on, we save this flow, and we've been tracking our progress with another base component, progress bar. Let's finish this flow. I feel good. Our broker optimized this property with the flow that we pushed out to them. And we've got a chatter list, a chatter post that comes out and lets us know, hey, you changed the price for this property. Well, we don't want to just notify everyone internally, right? We saw that Heroku mobile app that Margaret showed earlier. We want to make sure our customers are notified on their mobile app as well. So when we're changing prices, we're also sending a push notification to customers on the mobile app. But we didn't do that with Flow. We did that with platform events. We're using platform events to subscribe and publish price changes in real time. So let's take a look at how we did that, because we did that with platform events and Process Builder. We have our platform event process, publish price changes. So every time a property price changes, we're taking the property ID and the price, and we're publishing that on our platform event type property status change. So when we do that, we're publishing out all these price changes. But how are we listening to those price changes, right? How is our mobile app listening to those price changes? Kara, let's jump back into that Node app that we're using to power our Heroku mobile app. So here, we can see that Node app that we're using, the source for our Heroku mobile app. And we're subscribing, that Heroku app is subscribing directly via the endpoint to that property status event. And when it subscribes via the endpoint, it's also sending a push notification to all of our mobile app users. So if we go back into our Salesforce app, no matter how our brokers are working with records, Whether they're doing it in that great flow that we built, whether they're doing it in the list view for properties, however they're updating prices, we can make sure that we're sending real-time notifications to our Heroku mobile app wherever they are. And that is how you build smarter apps with the platform. Back to you, Parker.
Woo! Wow. Okay, my head's spinning. That was a lot. So I'm glad we have the code and we have the trail mix later. So we've built an app. We've made it smarter, but maybe you can't do it alone. Maybe you can't do it alone. So we're going to hear Vamsi's story. And to tell Vamsi's story, I'd like Wade Wagner to tell it. How are we going to have more people work together on the platform?
Great. Well, I'm glad you asked. All right. It's great to be here, and I'm very excited to tell the story of Vamsi and how he and his teams are able to build together on the Lightning platform. Now, I've been following and have known Vamsi for a while, and when he says that his teams need tools and processes to enable them to work better together, he's not saying it just because this is a nice thing to have, but it's an imperative. And I think all of you as developers here in the audience can echo that sentiment. We need tools and we need processes and services that enable us to work together as parts of teams. And this is because, as was mentioned earlier, the expectations of our customers are as high as ever. The consumer market, the consumer apps have changed the dynamics in terms of what they expect. And so as a team, as a set of developers, we need to go through this process continually where we are building and we are integrating, testing, and deploying. And this can be for new features and functionalities. This can be simply just to correct bugs and errors and mistakes. And so we need a platform that enables us to do all of this together. And so this is why we've been focused on Salesforce DX for the last 2 to 3 years now, enabling you to do this together as part of a team. And with this, you can build apps, as you've seen today, using declarative tools, clicks. You can also use code, building and writing code such as Apex and taking advantage of Heroku and working together to test that code, and then, of course, to use tools like change sets and packaging in order to get it into the environments that your users are in. Freeing you up to use the release management tools of your choice. And these could be tools that our partners provide. These could be tools that you already have at your organization. And of course, these could be tools such as Heroku pipelines that you can use in order to release applications across all of your environments. And of course, as Margaret said before, we're all opinionated as developers. And so you should be free to choose the tools that you're familiar with and the tools that you already know how to use in order to build these applications. Now, I want to spend one moment on release management because this is critical to how we build apps together. Now, I would argue that most of you in the room are familiar with how to take advantage of sandboxes and change sets in order to take a set of changes that you as a team have made and move them from one environment to another. And this is a powerful way that you can do release management on the platform. Now, we've also been talking a lot about and introduced packaging as well. And this is another tool in your arsenal for where and when you want to be able to encapsulate all of the things related to the app that you're building into a package, and then to be able to version and install that package over time. And the key thing I want you to pay attention to on this particular slide is that it is not an either-or proposition. You can use change sets to move these changes into environments such as Sandbox and production, along with using packaging in order to take applications there as well. Now, we've got some really exciting updates coming not only now, but then this summer as well. And so with packaging, as I just mentioned, we've got unlocked packages for customers. So with unlocked packages, you can describe the unit of the app that you're building, install it into the environment where your users are, and since it's unlocked, these components, the code that you are deploying is not blocked and locked from people changing it. They are free to make changes to that as well. Now, in the developer tools, we've got a lot of really cool things. So for those of you that have been using our Visual Studio Code tools, I'm really pleased that in the summer, you will be able to use it for all of your development activities, whether you're building change sets, using the metadata API, or if you're using packaging. We also have a brand new replay debugger, which you may have seen yesterday. We're also going to show it a little bit again today. And this is a free tool that all developers can use in order to step through interactively and use and test that code that you've written. And then, as you saw with Margaret's shirt and some of the things she highlighted, we have a brand new framework for building CLIs and plugins called Oakliff. It's the Open CLI framework. And that is an open source project that you can use in order to customize and automate all the things that you've built. And last but certainly not least, Heroku pipelines let us build together as teams and continuously release. And so let's go ahead and take a look at this in action. And joining me is Christoph and Nate in the back. So we're going to go ahead and show how this all comes together. So I'm starting here in Quip because this helps me to organize all the things that I need to do. And there's a lot. So we're going to jump right in and get started. Note that I have an incoming change set. Now, you may not have seen it, but Margaret, when she was off stage, actually generated a change set, and she pushed it into the sandbox. And so we're going to go ahead and click this and open up Sandbox, and we're going to see the set of changes that were made earlier on today. Now, again, this is the set of changes. We're going to open this up, and we're going to deploy this directly into our sandbox. And this is a powerful way that we can take those changes and then get them into an environment that our users are in such that they can test it before we end up releasing this into production. And so that was pretty quick. That was great. And so now the most exciting part about using that project tracker in Quip is I can complete this action. So we're going to mark this complete and move to the next step. Here you see I've actually got a pending pull request. This is for an application that Maria has been working on, and it's actually hosted up in GitHub. So when I click this pending pull request, it's going to open up the pull request. So this pull request represents the set of changes that she's made in this application. Now, we noticed that our brokers are doing a lot of accidental typos here. And so she's added a method that's going to help us to automatically correct those typos. So instead of typing Chicago, it's going to replace it with Chicago and Des Moines with Des Moines. And so this looks like a reasonable update, but instead of just merging this into our application, we're going to do a quick code review. And so for that, we're going to flip over here to Visual Studio Code. And we're going to check out that branch. And by checking out that branch, we're going to actually get that code that she's written, and we're going to be able to take a look at it. Now that we've checked it out, we're going to take that and push it into the Scratch org that we're using to build and develop this application. And so in just a few moments, this code will be running in the development environment that we're using. So we want to see how this code is operating. Now, in the past, you've probably used tools like the developer console in order to take a look at all of those system debug statements and actually see what's happening during the code execution. And so what I'm really pleased to share is that we have a new command against streaming logs, where right here in the tools that we're working in, we can perform a command called a log tail. And what that's going to do is it's going to emit all of those logs in real time so that we can see exactly what is happening with our code. And so now on the left side of this terminal, we're going to actually execute an Apex test. And so when we run this test, you'll see here on the right all of the information that we have used and seen inside of the developer console is available to us right here in the tool that we're building the application in. And this is awesome. But we can do a little bit more. There's a lot of information here, and some of it may not be the things that I need to look at right now. And so with the CLI, you can use tools like grep in order to filter the output. So here we're going to only see the things that represent the debug statements as well as any exceptions that have been thrown. And so when we rerun our tests, you'll note that we've been able to filter that so that we have very relevant information that we can use in order to evaluate the code. And so this looks pretty good. Our tests are not only passing, but it looks like it's operating the way that we'd expect. But I want to look at this code here real quick and actually channel Parker here for a moment, because there are two main things to remember as being a developer with Salesforce. The first is that if you can use a declarative tool to do the job, you should do that. Second is, if you can find a way to minimize the code you write and to write simpler code, you should do that too. And so we're going to remove this if statement and actually replace it with Apex switch. And so I'm really excited that in this summer release, you will all be able to use the switch statement within Apex. This is awesome. Yes, I know. And so as you can see, this is a lot more readable. This is going to minimize code bugs that we introduce. And so we're going to change this code and push this now into our org. Now, since we made a code change, we're going to want to test this a little bit. And rather than just running the streaming logs again, this time we're going to take advantage of the Apex Replay Debugger. And so the Apex Replay Debugger works off of the same logs that we saw before. And so when we go ahead and launch, we're going to end up hitting that breakpoint that you saw Christoph just add there. And so here's the log file, right? The log file that we downloaded when we ran our tests. If we hit play, it's going to catch now on that breakpoint. And we can step through this code and just walk through it. And notice on the left here that we can actually see all of our local variables updating in real time. And so this gives us a lot of information that we can use to see exactly what is happening. So I feel pretty good about this change. And let's go ahead now and push this back into that branch, the pull request branch that Maria was working in. And so having done this, now we need to make sure that we can release this with confidence into our other environments. And so when we push that update, it's actually kicked off a process in Heroku pipelines. So here you can see our pipeline, and this represents all of the different environments that we use as part of development for this app. On the left, you notice there for a moment a review app that was created as part of that pull request. That review app is creating a scratch org and releasing and deploying all of the source and metadata into that scratch org. And so you can see the scratch org created here. In addition to doing that, it's actually running a set of tests. And so you can see it's kicked off Heroku CI. And so this helps us to feel confident that the tests are running. They should come up here in a moment. That the tests are running and that they've succeeded. So now that we feel good about these tests having succeeded, which I feel confident even if we didn't see it, we're going to go ahead and, there we go, we're going to go ahead now and merge that pull request. So let's go back to GitHub, and we're going to open up that pull request and merge it. Now, when we do that, a few things are going to happen. First, the review app that we had created is going to disappear, because we don't need that anymore. It's also going to trigger another build in our development integration environment. And that development integration environment is backed by an actual org. So a couple of things to note. When this kicks off in a moment, there's going to be a few different things that are happening. First, instead of creating a scratch org, we're actually creating an unlocked package. And that unlocked package is going to have all the metadata representing the changes that we've made. And here you can see that we ended up creating a brand new package version for this update. Now, since we have the package created, if we go and take a look at the release logs for this environment, you'll see that it's actually installing that package into this environment. And this is a key thing to highlight. Unlike change sets, where we move these changes from one environment to another environment, with packaging, we've created a package representing these changes. It's immutable. And we're going to now take this package and install it into all the other environments that we're working with. So if we go back to the pipeline, we can now promote this into staging. And when we do this promotion into staging, really only one thing is going to happen, and that is that the package is going to get installed into the staging environment, which happens to be the same sandbox that we were using earlier with the change set that Margaret had created. And so this is a really powerful way that all of us can work together as a team. We can get insight into the code, into the apps that we're writing. And I'm very pleased that you can do all of this now with Heroku pipelines as well. And so, Parker, that is how you build apps together on the Lightning platform.
All right, Wade. Woo! OK. All right, time to wrap it up. We built apps faster. We made them smarter. We built them together. And you, too, can do all of this yourself. So I learned how to build a trail mix. We built a trail mix. It's online. Go to sforce.co, TDX18 trail mix, log in, and take the trails. OK? You can do all of the coding that you just saw. OK, but we are not done with TrailheaDX. Later today in this room, you're going to learn about lightning. That's going to be awesome. Then at 1:30, you can get smarter once again with Einstein. And then finally, what I'm most excited about is to finish up. We have the Luminary Fireside Chat with Mark Hamill and Ina Fried. All right, and that's it. That's a wrap. Thank you. Enjoy the day.